up? It's your boy E.T. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is gonna take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And this is one of those rare treats, so there's been a lot going on in the world, and you see so many different things in the news when it comes to sports. You see it in politics, you see it, but you know what I don't see? I don't see a lot of elevation, a lot of talk about these wonderful, beautiful marriages that are out there.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's why we have this space. And what we love to do, when we try to do it on a monthly basis, to bring you at least one amazing couple, but I'm not gonna lie, we've been blessed to be surrounded by some amazing people, and we'd be doing you, the community, our Iron Tribe, a disservice if we didn't just bring you more. And so we're actually bringing you a bonus couple this month. This is somebody that I've been wanting to get on my show for our show, not my show.
I wasn't gonna say nothing. I didn't even reach to pinch you, so we're good right now.
So you hear another voice, and if you're on YouTube, you can see these wonderful faces that are in front of you. And so this evening, we actually have Jorge and Keila Sierra. Did I say that right?
Keila.
Yeah, I said Keila. Dang.
It's okay.
It's not okay. Pay attention.
Well, on his defense, on my brother's defense, everybody says Keila because the K is silent in there, so it's pronounced. So when they meet her, they always talking about Keila, and she always has to go through that. So on your defense, my brother, it happens more than what you think.
That's fine. You know, my name's Ernie, so feel free to call me Eric. Just go ahead and mess it up.
All right.
She said I will.
She's gonna hold that in the back pocket, though. I promise you. She's gonna do it today.
This is awesome. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us. It's an honor and a blessing. And I've watched you, and I've seen you move in certain rooms, and this is an honor and a blessing. I see the great work that you are doing. For the first time meeting your queen, and I'm loving it. I'm excited. Let's get this work. Let's talk.
Let's go. Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with Jorge and
Keila. Good Lord.
I'm just playing. But for those of you that aren't familiar, I met Jorge. Oh, you know what? Blast from the past. I don't think you remember this, but when I very first became an extreme execution coach, you were one of the people I had to shadow.
I do remember.
Do you? Okay.
Of course. I mean, that's just a little secret, man. Jorge forgets names, faces at times, and I've introduced myself to folks that I've known over 20. Like, Jorge, we known each other for 20 years, right? Like, come on. But I do remember you, and there's certain personalities that you come across, and they're I'm intrigued with how they move and how they pronounce things, and in the sense of how they carry their demeanor and you was one of them, right? Like, you're determined to say, like, this is something I want to do, and look at you now, like, just really doing what you're doing, man. And I'm super proud of you. And for real, hey, it's real, because I'm the type of individual that I'm a very forceful thing when it comes to getting what I want, right? And Ernie, you one of those brothers, man, and I just respect it. So yes, I do remember you, and this is a blessing.
Oh, that means a lot. I mean, I'm over here fanboying because for those of you that don't know, so Jorge was somebody I looked up to originally, the very first time I got exposed to Dr. Eric Thomas. And if you've ever listened to the Secrets to Success podcast, when ET goes in, he starts talking about, his Latino brothers, and he starts speaking Spanish, and he'll make references to Jorge a lot. And this is a guy that when I first met him, you really impressed me because our space is marriage. And I don't know that I ever heard you speak without making reference to your queen.
Of course.
always, no matter what the level of success is, where you were speaking, what was going on, she is always, if she's not there with you in physicality, she's there with you in spirit, and you make sure that she's there in that room and everybody knows.
Yeah. And you know, truth be told, man, my journeys wouldn't be the same without my queen. So it's only right that whenever she's not in the room, I'll make her presence known. And I don't think, you know, be honest with you, as you say that, I don't think I say that to her often, you know, or remind her that. I think I tell more the world than what I tell her at times. So yeah, you know, that's a note to Jorge. Like, yo, you better, you know, let her know, because it don't mean nothing if she don't know, right?
That's right.
Hey, that's truth right there. So you guys are thinking, okay, so who is this guy? What does he do? What? So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit, but I want to tell you that as I know you, you're an author, international inspirational speaker. You've spoken from elementary schools all the way up to universities, as well as the NFL.
Yes.
You've been in other countries. You've been on the stage with ET. You've been on the stage with Quest, and I've actually seen clips of the both of you going in on marriage, and I was like, that talk, do that thing. So I'm really pleased to have both of you here this evening. So
Pleased to be here. Thank you.
this is awesome.
I'll let my queen first, you know, introduce herself. Go ahead.
That's Jorge. So I'm Keila. I am a barber. I know a lot of times I say I do hair, and a lot of people are like, oh, what are you, a hairdresser? And I'm like, I'm a dual license, but my preference is barber. I've been a barber for 11 years. We own a shop together. Our shop has been open for 18 years, but I've been there the entire time of my career. So I've been there for the 11 years, and there's 9 of us in there. So we run a business together. I'm also a mother. I was a teen mom. I had my son at 15 years old. So my son is now the same age that I was when I had him. And Jorge has been in his life since he was about 5 years old. And what else am I?
You're great. You're a great leader. She's a great you know, leader that, you know, leads with empathy. She's somebody that not only fulfills my life, completes it. But you know, I learned a lot with Keila. You know, with how to lead with empathy, how to lead with love. You know, my background, you know, was more, you know, I've been a paraplegic since I was 17 due to gun violence, getting gunned down in front of my mother at the age of 17. And, you know, growing up with no father and, you know, welfare recipients, education I celebrated, like, you know, Jorge had to either become a victim or a victor. And I decided that I would never become a victim. So I've had this chip on my shoulder and determination and how I was going to get what I needed to, no matter what doors and what obstacles are gotten in front of me. And when I met Keila, you know, Keila had to soften that up, right? Because, you know, it's not what you're saying, but it's how you say it. And you know, I want her to know that she's the balance of the Sierra household. She's the backbone. She's the foundation. You know, we talk about, you know, creating our table. And Keila has allowed me to understand what the table stands on, what are our values and what are our pillars, right? Because, you know, when you chase the table, you're chasing a table. We're in an era, everybody's trying to build their table. And it's like, man, you are the table. But what you don't know, it probably is not clear, is what you stand on, right? What are those 4 legs that are holding that table up? And Keila has allowed me to define that. And you know, that has made us a duo that is unstoppable, because, you know, in areas that she can't, you know, really get, you know, make these decisions or even feel like, you know, well, this is a little bit, Jorge will step in, but then she'll pull me back, be like, bro, you're doing a little too much. Slow down, put your brakes on your tires, you know. But, you know, I guess, you know, I'm someone that, you know, that loves to create value, right? If I had to describe Jorge, if you look at the name Jorge, and actually our brother E.T. Eric Thomas told us one time, Google your name. And Jorge, and in the Bible definition is, you know, farmer of earth, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little, Ernie, I was a little disappointed. I was like, what? I'm not a warrior. I'm not a, you know, Keila came back and told me her name was Citadel. which is Fortress, right? And I thought that was so dope. I'm like, Fortress, that's, Keila stands for citadel, in the Bible. And I came back but that's really what I'm put on this earth, is to, plant seeds, right? And so, I'm honored and blessed to be here, my brother and sister.
I need you.
Don't forget me. No.
That's dope though. You got the citadel and you're farming the land around.
That's right.
Hey, you
The
already
citadel.
talk that talk, King.
I love that. I love that.
Okay, so I am a story person. So I want to know how y'all met.
I'll let her tell this because she's better than me and really, navigating through this. Share with everyone how we met, what was set. I'll set the context behind that. I'll send the picture, right?
Okay.
I've been a barber, mind you. I've been in a wheelchair for 27 years, but I've been a barber for almost 24 years or 25 years, something to that extent. So that means when I ended up in a wheelchair, maybe 2 years after that, I went through the process of becoming a licensed barber. So I've been doing this since I want to say 97, 98, something to that extent. I think it was 98. Graduated, became an apprentice, came out of there, eventually started becoming a junior instructor, which eventually became an instructor. Moving forward, I've worked in the schools in the beauty industry as an instructor, dual license for several years. When Keila came in, I was already in that position for about maybe 10 years. And Keila came in through there as a student. And the way I met Keila is that when I used to come into school in the morning, as coming in early, I had to, get there a certain time. Keila would be outside. Obviously, school would be opening up at certain hours, maybe like 9 o'clock in the morning. She was already there by like 7:30, 7:45 or something to that extent. So I would see her as I rolled, and no fragmentation. So it was just hi, good morning, keeping keeping it, and she just had that look like, don't even talk to me anyway. So I kept it moving. But how we officially met, I'll let Keila kind of explain, her where she was at and how she transitioned into my space. And that's really, God is funny, but I'll let you'll hear why I say God is funny like that.
So remember I told you I'm a dual license. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, licensed barber. The school has both programs. Jorge was a barber instructor. While I was in cosmetology, I was going through and getting out of a very abusive relationship. So I would do everything I possibly could to leave the house as early as possible. Like I got there before the school was even open, before teachers, anybody. So I would see the staff coming in, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm outside, whatever. So I would see him like just wave. We never talked though. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a hard time making eye contact with people. I was just going through that really dark place. Mm-hmm. But he would always see me first one to show up, last one to leave consistently. And when I graduated cosmetology school, I had such a hard time finding a job for a long period of time due to my lack of confidence. I would show up to interviews with just bad body language because I was just coming out of what I was coming out of. Mm-hmm. But I was trying. And I had a conversation with somebody that I know, and they asked me, hey, like, I know an instructor that goes to the school you just graduated from. Do you know him? And I said, no, I don't know him. I see him, but I don't know him. Why? And she said, well, it seems like he knows you because I made a comment about you that you have a lot of problems, and he checked me real quick. So she must have thought that he was going to tell me. So I'm like, okay, tell me more. She's like, oh, well, he told me that you work hard. And that I should check on you. That was a conversation. When I went back to the school to say, hey, y'all promised me a job. I can't find a job, right? But I remembered what homegirl has said. Now, I told you I got out of an abusive relationship. I'm not accustomed to men defending me, right? So before I left, I went into the barbering clinic. They was popping. At the cosmetology, we had little old ladies were doing the rollers. It was just a different vibe. It just wasn't it. Barber had hip hop. They geeking. They not doing nothing they supposed to be doing. Like it was just
Hold
real
on, hold on,
fun.
hold
They
on.
wasn't doing nothing they
Let's not
supposed to be
even do. Let's
doing.
not do that, right? I was the instructor at that time.
They had, yeah, they was ratchet in there, but it was cool. It was fun. It was a different vibe. It was a breath of fresh air for me, right? I went in there, introduced myself formally and officially, and told him thank you. And he had one. I was able to see his personality, which stuck out for me. He said, I just don't like people not coming for somebody that's not there to defend themselves. And that being one of the first things that I heard come out of his mouth, I was like, I like this type of energy. You know what I'm saying? And he told me, after I told him I had a hard time finding a job, to sign up for barbering. I signed up that day, and me and him, he poured into me. He saw something in me, like he really built me up, and we built our friendship first. And because he poured into me, he had a tight, when I didn't have nobody. Both my parents were addicted to drugs. I just had this little boy, and he really helped me find myself. So I always gave him my loyalty from then on in, because ain't nobody gave me that. So, and here we are, we're married. I'm still a barber. We're running a business together. So
that might be, I mean, we've interviewed a lot of couples, and no shade on anybody that we've spoken to.
Right.
I'm just saying, there's a feeling I got when you were telling your story, and there's a glow about you, sis. Both of you, when you talk about each other, there's a glow, and I feel it. I love that.
That's my dog. You kidding?
See, and that's what's important.
Yeah,
that's what's important. Because what people do is they say, "Oh, that's my old man," or "That's that's my old lady," or that's no. But you tell me that's your dog, and I felt that, and I'm like, that's what more marriages need. Y'all are ride or die. I mean, people say it, but they don't really show it. Like they don't emote it. Like, yeah, that's my ride or die. But I just saw you guys get into like a massive fight, but you two, there's a respect that I see between the two of you. And that's amazing. I love that.
Even when we piss, I'll be like, man, shut up, eat something.
and mind you, that loyalty, and mind you, that's just a fraction, right? Let's be honest. And I'll take a moment just to kind of give her flowers right now, because Keila is 15 years younger than me, right? Don't get it twisted. I'm a barber, so there's a little bit of color, a little bit of this, a little of that. I promise you. Let's take off our shoes and let's have a conversation.
Okay,
we're
bro,
gonna,
we need to
help
talk.
somebody. We're gonna help
tips.
somebody out here, right? Because this is what we're doing here, right?
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry, Jorge. Hold on a second.
Yes.
What you mean you need some tips?
I just say, look, I might need to tighten up a little bit.
Listen. If it was up to her, I'll be straight grayed out. Like, she loves it. Like, I'm not ready to let go. So yeah, I'm not. Don't get in trouble, King. You know what I'm saying?
Please don't get in trouble. I was like, what? You trying to go get you a little PYT? What you? What? I wish you would. I'm just saying. Okay.
I feel you though. She's digging on this platinum. I say it's not great. It's platinum. That's what I'm saying.
And you rock it well. So like, listen, when I get to that point, when I get over this whole color thing and this just for men thing, then I promise you, I hope I rock it like you. But Keila, I want to give her flowers because she's right. One thing that we were able to do is rock out and really get to know each other. And I think that a lot of couples, right, we forget how we started. We forget the friendship. We forget, and I'll be honest with you, there's two relationships within a marriage. There's the sexual part of things, right, the intimacy, but then there's the friendship, which is intimate, but let's not forget that there was a time that we were riding for each other. There was a time that there was no question asked. There was a time that it's like, yo, Cinema, let's go, right? You got a problem? Let's come on, Cinema, go. Like, I got you. There was no judgmental. There was no follow through. It was like, yo, that's the only person that's rocking with me. Like, of course I got you. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning. She used to stay with me on the phone while I was traveling, because at this point, I was traveling. I dominated an industry that consists of standing up. I did it sitting down. So mind you, I was traveling, doing platform work. I was doing speaking, and this was way before me entering the speaking, public speaking. Like, I was doing this in the beauty industry, and she would stay up for hours with me, right, just rocking out with the kid. But when it really, really hit me, and I said, okay, I gotta put a ring on this. Like I really gotta. And I, mind you, I grew up in a household where marriage was not a thing, right? You did that, you were fool. You did that. That was going to getting married was going against everything I was raised at, everything that I was taught, everything that I was like. There was no marriage that I could ever see or even know of, because that was just not a thing around me growing up that I could say, oh, that's sexy. Oh, that's appealing. Oh, I'm, you know, I want that eventually. See, my son, he's seen both couples, you know, both father and mother in here, right? So he's gonna have a different perspective. But when I literally see myself in a space that I ended up in the hospital, maybe I want to say 2 years after, you know, you graduated. Was it 2 years or a year? Something to that extent. I ended up catching a skin breakdown, and I ended up catching a bone infection. So that turned into me getting you know, a flap done, which is a surgery, major surgery. I've had those 4 times in my career of being a paraplegic, and every time I end up in the hospital, a year plus in bed at a nursing home without moving, like just eating, sleeping on the bed, you know, using the bathroom, getting bathed. Like, I mean, literally, right? I lose all my muscles. I can't even sit up after a certain amount of time because you just stare. And I remember this young lady, you know, Keila, like, yo, she stood with me every day in that hospital, yo, like in that nursing home. Not only she did that, she helped me run the business. She ran the business for me. And, you know, and she stood with little man, right? Her and little man, like they literally stayed in the nursery. Like she would go to work. She'll stay with me all night, leave in the morning, take little man to school, go run the shop, get out of the shop, go take a shot, come right straight to the nursing home and stay with me. Through that process, and that's how we, you know, I met E and all that. But that at that point, I seen that, you know, Keila, you know, being a young lady that she was, you know, her heart was placed at the right place, because not your average 21-year-old, 22-year-old is going to be cleaning nobody's butt, right? And she was cleaning my butt, like really, like I was having accidents. Let's keep it 100, right? Like she was wiping me down. She was taking care. She was nurturing me. She was, and that's when, you know, when you go through something, some traumatic situations, and you go through some times that you're at your lowest, you know, that's really when you understand who's next to you. And I would forever be loyal to Keila because of what those actions. And it wasn't because of just the actions, because that was the icing on the cake. But I reflect back like how young she was, and not too many people built for that. Not too many people, like they would probably be tricking off time, going to want to go do XYZ, whatever that XYZ was. But I'm not going to spend my nights, my almost a year in there with this dude, and that we just rocking, we just kind of like cool, and it's not, there's no commitment. So that really speaks to our relationship. And even when she aggravates me and I want to pull my hair out of my head, and I want to take my tires off my chair and just kind of just sit there, I remind myself, I really try to go back to that space and remind myself how loyal she's been, and how much of an instrument she's been on my journey to where I'm at right now.
Did we get that recorded? So next time, you know.
Girl,
Oh,
I
it's
got you.
got it on
I
repeat.
promise you, I'm gonna cut it
I'm
and
really- hold
flip
on.
it. Yeah.
Do you remember this?
It's on YouTube, 20,000 views.
you
I'm
go.
loving that. You know,
That's
there's
beautiful, actually. That's really beautiful.
extremely beautiful. And I had to reflect there, because as you were talking, you know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
There was a period where when we got engaged, I got her ex-boyfriend that, you know, that I'm not gonna say her relationship was abusive, but it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't good when I got out of it. But when we got engaged, dude flipped and attacked her while I was at the house. I ended up getting stabbed. And so he stabbed me through my heart. And I ended up having 2 open heart surgeries as a result of that, because it went all the way through my heart. And there was a time where, mind you, we just got engaged. We'd been engaged for a week. This all went down.
Wow.
And
5 days.
well, it wasn't even quite a week. Yeah. And
5 days.
but I was in the hospital, and our stuff was a whirlwind. We met. She thought I was a nerd. She actually,
Babe, they not
we got
asking
engaged. I'm just
about
saying,
us,
but we got engaged
okay?
4 months later.
this
But I
is
just want to say,
not
And I
about
want to
us.
hear this.
Yeah, we wanna
Yeah,
hear
I
it.
want to. This is what we do. And I'll be honest with you, we got to hear it, because we're getting to know you guys, and this is really, the conversation is going to free somebody, because that's really what this is about, right?
Mhm.
I need to hear this, because you never know, there's a message directly for me or for my queen or whatever it is, or whoever's listening. So please, yes, Talk to us.
And all I really wanted to get to was the fact that there was a period where in order for me to be able to leave the hospital, certain things had to happen. And you're familiar with that, right? You got to have a bowel movement. You got to do these different things before they'll let you go. And I was so weak and I couldn't do, she had to
About
wipe
to
me
say the staples in your
as
chest and
well.
stuff.
Yeah, because I had all these staples in my chest. I'd been opened up twice to where I was just like super fragile. And when she, it's so funny when you said it, when she had to actually, wipe me and take care of that, and we weren't even married yet or anything, I was like, okay, she's a keeper.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because of that, but it's the mindset behind the action.
And as a man, that's huge for us because we don't trust easy. We have this thing called ego, and that's at our lowest, right? As a man, and for a woman to step in, or anyone, right? Because it's just humanity, right? Let's be honest. But it's just as a human, to step in and really be able to embrace you and not make you feel embarrassed and make you feel like, yo, I got you. Don't worry about this. It's like, that's next level. There's a click there that it's like, you know what? Like, yeah, like me and you because you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't, and you're doing, and she was doing more, she was doing more than what the people that were getting paid to actually do for me. So yeah, man, you're right. And I'm glad you shared that because it's Queen, you got to let him share that stuff because that's really, I think we lose that, right? In today's marriages, I think that, we're falling back into these marriages. It's more of a, for what it seems, it's more of a, an investment, but it's like, it's not a financial investment. It's not, what can you get from me and what can I get for you? It's what can I do for you? And obviously, for you to been able to do that for him, you had to be in the right place for yourself, and you had to be able to position yourself, even if you were going through X, Y, Z, because I'm sure that was a traumatic time and everything that was going on. But you was able to put that emotion aside, say, "Yo, I got you. Don't worry with me." And I'm sure that if it was the other way around, he would have done it for you too.
I don't know. He might have called the nurse.
I'm gonna put my money on him because I gotta believe that my brother would have done the same for you.
No, he would have.
Absolutely. But let's turn tables back on you. I want to get the spotlight back on you. So there's a lot to unpack there. Not just there's the friendship. You're a blended family, right?
Yes.
You were young and you were coming up in a time where it wasn't as cool, to stick by each other, particularly. And I'm curious, so Keila, I mean, you had did you have like girls? Did you have like, kind of like a coordinated friends around you? Or
What
were you
was
just
your circle saying about, girl, what you doing with him? I mean, anything like that?
I didn't have a circle. I've never had a circle. I've always been the type of person that I kind of like just.
I'm just gonna do me.
Not only just do me. I like in high school. I was friends with the white people. Like I was friends with the Asian people. Like I was friends with everybody. You know what I'm saying? But like really close inner circle. Nah, I never really had that. And I never made anyone comfortable to make their personal opinions in my life. Like I vote, like that's what it would drive. My grandmother raised me. It would drive her nuts. But one thing she knew about me is I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I have to learn the hard way, whatever. So anyone that was close to me that knew me, they just never really put their opinions on me like that,
So then nobody ever say, bro, like you got that swaggy brother in a wheelchair, like nothing like that, like. I think they did. She just ain't trying to let me.
That dude's a chippy getting girls. They would say stupid stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but nah, no one really tried to either talk me out of it. No one really tried to talk me into it. When I met him, I went through a major transition from I would be partying and chilling with a lot of people to what's the word, to distract myself from the pain I was feeling, and I went through a major realization. At the time, I didn't know it was God. I look now and I know for a fact it was God. And when I tell you I had a house full of people and it was like the Holy Spirit, like, it was like a weird switch. And I literally was like, get the blink out my house right now. Everybody, some of my relatives, get out of my house and don't come back. And they did. And it caused a lot of beef. But I had to go through, God was making me see how these people were using me. They were dragging me down. They were just there it just was not good. And I realized that if I was going to continue to go down the road that I was going, my mother died of a drug overdose a week before my 13th birthday. My son's biological father has never been involved. My grandparents weren't talking to me. I didn't have anybody. But I knew I needed to do something different than what I was doing to make sure that I became the best version of myself. So I didn't place that pain that I've experienced onto my child. I didn't know it was a generational curse because I was very young. I didn't have mentorship, but I knew I didn't want that for him. So I wasn't surrounded by anybody. So nobody even had a place to make their opinions on me. But because not only he was in a wheelchair, but his mindset was so different from what I was exposed to. I didn't know where I was going, but I was moving. I was trying to figure stuff out. And he just had this, I seen passion in him. And I don't know about y'all, where y'all from, but out here, like, you see people walk around like zombies and there ain't no passion. Like, people are alive and breathing, but here, like, they're not really living. And him, he was so full of life, so full of passion. He just was a physical example of no excuses, and I needed to be around that, and I would do anything to be around that. So I wanted to make sure it's not in my blood to take from anybody. I wanted to be around it, but I wanted to make sure I added so much value in his space. I didn't care about no titles, because I'd be like, I want to be your girlfriend. You're a girl, bye. I don't want no relationship, whatever. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
This is what I tell people. Like, she chased me down. Like, I wasn't even on that.
I used to be with the guys in the barber, and I'm like, that's about to be my husband. Like, just messing around, whatever.
No,
and they were not that.
She had a plan.
I was, you know what I'm saying?
Who's the farmer? Who's the farmer now? She was planting
this
seeds.
Is before we even started talking. I guess this was like way before we started that. The conversation that me and her had. Like, this was even, she would tell me afterwards. I'm laughing like, yo, you sought me out, and
I used to cook at home and like, you want some ribs? I tell you, adding value, you know what I'm saying? And he would tell me, girl, I don't want no relationship, like, and it used to like hurt my feelings a little bit, but I was like, all right, well, he's keeping 100 with me, so like, that's sexy too. It's all right, we can be all right, we can be friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just making me like you more, but like, that was, you know, like, we was homies, and there was mixed signals there, because he's like, oh, you're not gonna be my girlfriend, but I was sleeping up. I went to his house one time, I was like, yo, you hungry? And I never left, ever. Like, still to this day, never left.
Mind you, that not because I was like, yo, you don't want to go home? Like, you don't got something to do yet? Nah, we're chilling, don't worry. I was like, all right. But you know what? Looking back, you know, God, I do, and you know, I'm a man of faith. And looking back, I understand why God put us together. And I understand that, you know, mind you, I was going through some personal stuff myself. You know, I was very successful way before I got into the speaking space, right? Like, I've been doing this, I've been traveling, and I was going through a transition in my life as well. So my circle of influence started knocking off because, you know, I started noticing and I started feeling, and there was a shift in so she's going through what she just explained. I'm going through a shift right there. So it came to a point that it was just like we found each other to kind of like.
We were low-key trauma bonding. And now I'm 31, I realized that. On the low, we definitely were. Okay.
It's a thing.
And I wanted to, it's very much
first
so.
time I've ever heard of it, to be honest with you.
But I wanna say this. I solely believe, as a woman of faith, you should, if you do it the right way, you should make sure that you get God's cosign on the relationship, right?
That's right.
I didn't have, God had a relationship with me. I wasn't doing my part because I didn't know better, right? I know for a fact it was in God's will because of the fruit of it, maybe the way that it happened, but God's grace has taught me. And it's a revelation that I've had in the beginning of our relationship on both ends, because there was a lot going on, but God still blessed it. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, we
Yeah.
definitely understand.
And I'm so grateful for that. And I think that's a lot of people either are ashamed to say, or they just don't know better. But that's one thing that I know for sure, with Jorge and I both going through our trials and tribulations, God had us in the same season, and we were all we had.